All right, Bicep Vinegar day 170. I'm back. So bicep torn as of a week ago now. So it's been 7 days. There's discoloration and bruising. The biceps retracted 10 centimeters, according to the lady at the ultrasound. Tomorrow I go down to the hospital. It's a 2-hour drive to a hospital down in Sydney. Talk to an orthopedic surgeon, see whether or not I can operate or not, or what the fucking situation is. I have some supination, I have flexion, which isn't too bad. I can't really tell if that's coming from my proximal bicep tendon or if it's still attached. The lady doing my ultrasound seems to think that it's still attached, which is a partial tear, which doesn't rule out surgery. And ideally you want to get surgery even if it is partial, because if it's partial and I just mend it naturally, I'm going to have a really stretched out tendon, which will give me 30 to 50% less strength in that arm, which kind of suck. Also, it's mutilated as fuck, right? Like that bicep looks all right. That bicep's all the way up here. It's not going to be sick. So, hopefully I can get surgery, but the problem is with this, when she was looking at it, when she was doing the ultrasound, she said it's a weird tear. Normally with biceps, let's say that's your bicep, let's say this is your tendon. Normally what happens is the bicep just fucking tears off the bone, and then you have to grab it, drill it into the radius and reattach it. But what happened with mine is it just stretched like crazy. It stretched like crazy, and she seems to think it ruptured partially in the middle, which means for them to reattach it, they have to then pull it down into the radius bone, drill it in. But if there's a tear in the middle, it's not stable, and pulling that down might not really work. So whether or not it's going to be operative, whether or not I can afford the operation and all the shit, and whether or not I can get in quick enough, because I've got 5 weeks before it becomes non-operative, is up for debate. So we'll see tomorrow. Hopefully I can get it surgically reattached, or hopefully by some miracle it doesn't need surgery and can recover totally 100%, but I doubt it. Anyway, back day. So this is going to be weird. This is going to be different. I'm going to experiment how to train my back without engaging my bicep too much. So first thing I'm going to try and do is kind of like a pull down for the lats. So I'm just going to put my elbow through and then just not engage the bicep. I'm not going to do high intensity. I'm not going to be, like grinding to the last rep, because I just don't want to risk contracting my bicep by accident. So I'm just going to do, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets. I'm going to accumulate the muscle damage with volume. I don't like volume, but it's the only option I have here. So the right side, I'm going to take with decent intensity, albeit I'm not really going to go too crazy to the right side, because I don't want to risk a bicep tear on this side. It'd be very unlikely, but if it was to happen, then I'd be fucked. I'd be totally crippled. So it's going to be a bit of volume today, which I don't like the idea of. Hate volume, but we just got to do what we can do, right? And at this point, it's just going to be maintaining some gains, right? Like through this recovery process, I'm going to try and maintain my triceps, forearms, and delts, and biceps going to shrink. It is what it is. But I want to try and at least maintain some of the strength and size I've gotten over the last 6 months from bulking. I'm supposed to be cutting right now, and I'm halfway through a cut, but I have to halt that for a bit, because you need nutrients to recover from an injury. So it'd be silly to be in a calorie deficit right now. So anyway, we're just going to see how this goes. Try to, at the very least, maintain the muscles around the bicep tear. It's probably going to be a bit funky. I can't do a full range of motion, but I'm just contracting those lats. that Nautilus pullover machine that I always wanted would come really in handy right now. I'm trying to just basically simulate that Nautilus pullover machine that requires no bicep. Because as we all know, the back requires the bicep for many of its pulling motions, unless you can eliminate the hand and go straight to the elbow. Oh, feels not too bad. Obviously, I'm not getting a full ROM like Dr. Mike Israel would like everyone to get, and I do like getting full range of motion for standardization, but that's just not happening right now. My elbow keeps slipping. All right, now I'm just gonna do a sort of a static hold. All right, do the negatives. Wow, this is pretty intense. All right, not too bad. I'll do maybe 2 of those, just 2 sets just to get the lats adaptation response. Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. You can always figure a way around. And, you know, it's a shitty position to have it because the bicep is engaged in so many things, whether it be pressing or pulling, like, you know, there's so many things. Chest might be a real difficult one. I'm gonna have to do some like manual resistance, internal rotation stuff because I can't fully extend my elbow because it just hurts too much. Like somewhere around there it gets really painful. So chest typically requires your bicep to contract on like or stabilize on a pec fly. So chest might be a bit tough, but I'll figure it out. And yeah, I think I'll be able to, at the very least, reduce the muscle wastage that I'm gonna get. And in some areas, I might even progress, you know. I'm gonna be training legs 2-3 times a week right now because I'm gonna have plenty of resources that can go to the legs because I'm not gonna be able to really like hammer the upper body training in. I'll have plenty of recovery. So I'm probably gonna be doing squats, you know, 3 times a week. I'm gonna be spending a lot of time on rehabbing and not just the bicep, but everything. I've got a lot of different issues and nothing that would necessarily turn into an injury because I've never really had an injury. I've had little nagging things that annoy me, never had an injury. So, but what I want to do is, you know, 4-6 months down the line when I'm back into really piss and vinegar shape, to have everything go smoothly. I want my shoulders working as best they can, knees, hips, all these issues that I have. I want to redeem those, and that way I can really get into training. Like my best mate, he blew his knee last year, and his thing, well, the one, knees go, and that's much more of an issue than the biceps, so he couldn't train for months. But when he got back into it, he was really ready to go. So I'm really keen to get back into hardcore training, and this process will just be a healing time. Heal the bicep, heal everything else, work on stretching, yoga, muscular imbalances, you know, all that boring, annoying shit we don't like doing, like the physio exercises. And then when I get back to full-on training, I'll be raring to go. All right, do another set of those. Oh man, it's kind of, doesn't quite, there we go. All right, 2 sets, I think that'll suffice. So I'm gonna do slow reps, 5-second negatives and positives for the right, because I don't want any fucking complications. Because I need this arm to do shit right now. So I'm just gonna do real slow. I'm not gonna fully extend the arm either, because I'm just paranoid right now. I really am. I mean, I really don't think I'd ever tear a bicep lifting weights. Obviously, the way I tore it was a freak thing where just about anybody in the position my arm was in, having this guy pull down with all his might and me resist with all my might, you know, I think you're gonna tear a bicep, just about anybody. And as a natural, I've never had a fear of tearing a bicep because it just doesn't happen in the naturals. Not lifting weights, at least. But now, even as irrational as it is, the idea of tearing a bicep, lifting weights in a controlled manner, it's still there. Gotta be careful. Okay. I'm so fucking paranoid of this arm. I'm gonna do a drop set. And I might even just do 2 sets of this arm because it looks like I'm a failure, but you know, there's apprehension there. And anytime there's apprehension when you're trying to train a failure, you're not gonna truly train a failure. I'm gonna rest, short rest, and we'll keep going. How to do a row. So I think I'll just go change the joint angle and kind of try to hit the upper back with the same basic movement I just did for the pull down. So I could probably resist with my hands and it doesn't really feel, there's nothing, I mean, it's very likely this is fully detached, and thus there's nothing more to tear, but I just want to be careful, so this won't be anywhere as effective, but it's better than nothing. And I have to train. I'll lose my mind if I don't keep doing something, you know? Okay. Not sure about that one. Cool. Yeah, upper back, decently activated. Suboptimal weight, but you know, it's all good. This is probably very goofy to watch, but hey, maybe someone out there is also going for a bicep tear and you don't have the same knowledge of training and need to try to figure out how to train around this thing, and maybe my little inventions here will work, because it's a bit easier when you understand the anatomy to do this safely. Gonna rest pause that because it doesn't feel super ideal. I like lifting heavy too, but it's all good. I'm so fucking paranoid about this bicep. Please stay there, stay on the bone. Cool. All right, now what? Rear delt. I have to figure that one out. Shouldn't be too difficult. I hit the rear delt quite a bit with this one, but I want to isolate the rear delts because lately I've had some crazy rear delt gains and I don't want to lose those. But overall, lats feel pretty decently worked. I'm going to try and train my traps too. I have an idea for traps, but we'll get to that. We're going to try some rear delts and all right, see how this goes. This is a little bit further down the hand than I'd like, but because rear delts are so light, I think I'll be okay. Part of how you get the resistance on rear delt is keeping the arm out a little bit. You don't really want to do rear delts too much like this, but I can't fully straighten my arm, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, that's not too bad. I could do these two-handed, but I want to really concentrate and make sure I'm not fucking around with my bicep. So everything's going to be unilateral for a while. Okay, super. Just drop set that real quick. I'm just gonna static hold this. All right, not too bad. That rear delt's plenty contracted. Things are gonna be all right, I think. It's just a matter of the bicep shrinking. And the brachialis shrink a little bit. Now, the thing is, if I get surgery, I won't be able to do a lot of this shit because I'll be in a sling. But if I don't get surgery, then it's just a matter of working around it. And from what I've seen, with people that don't get surgery, they can get pretty much into decent amount of training 4 to 6 weeks in. The problem is they lose a lot of stability in pressing movements, and they don't have as much flexion or supination if it heals naturally, even if it's a partial tear, because now the tendon is so lengthened that really, like, your arm, your bicep doesn't start supinating until about here now, because it's like, there's no reason for it to contract here because the tendon's so loose. Whereas normally your bicep assists here. And in flexion, you want a shorter lever. So here, like, you wouldn't really get as much flexion until about here maybe, because the tendon's so loose, it's not really contracting until you're about here. So a lot of brachialis overcompensation, a lot of supination through the forearm overcompensation, and that sucks. And it's gonna look horrible for the rest of my life, but at least it wasn't my neck, back, shoulder, knee, etc. This is so awkward doing this unilaterally. It's too easy to drop to that. All right. Oh, quick drop set. Mechanical drop set, go up and wait a little bit, do a face pull. It's too light. All right, rear delts and back, not too bad. So shrugs is a bit of a tough one because I can't fully extend the arm. I definitely don't want to be holding on to any weight with this hand, extending my arm. So I got to do it from the shoulder like this. And I don't have heaps of time now today to experiment with this. I'm going to try first doing shrugs like this with the safety squat bar. I mean, ideally, I could make this bilateral and just have something go with both shoulders. But again, I want to make everything unilateral so that I don't. All right, I'm going to try this instead. So a lot of times I've seen people tear their biceps and they just straight up don't train that one side. They don't train that shoulder, that back, that tricep, that forearm. And it's like, why? Like, fucking, you can still do some shit for sure. Let's see how this goes. This might be a bit, yeah, that's not enough tension there. Yeah, that's not sick. But it'll do something more than nothing. Yeah, this is going to require volume. I mean, it's not too bad, actually. try the karate belt. So there's not going to be much standardization or progressive overload or any of that for probably a little while, because it's just hard to standardize shit when you're doing like these weird like short ranges of motion and stuff. And progressive overload's not really what I'm looking for right now anyway. For the last month, it had been very nominal because of cutting weight. And at the end of the day, progressive overload is just a way of ascertaining whether or not what you're doing is working, whether or not you're eating enough, sleeping enough, etc. So what I'm just going to do is just try to get enough muscle damage that I can, at the very least, maintain my mass. And who knows, maybe eliminating the hands and getting this like crazy mind muscle connection. Who knows, maybe this will be the catalyst for like huge back and traps growth, and then that'll be how I train forever. This might be like a blessing in disguise. Maybe I'm about to get heaps of back gains because I'm just really like focusing on the back and not worrying about the biceps and shit, Oh yeah, that feels way better than the band. Just hurts. Oh, I've got to keep hold of that. Oh, hey, not bad. It's going to take a lot longer doing these workouts unilaterally, but also it might fix some imbalances, And I can force rep everything. I'm finally my own training partner. Static hold. All right. Well, the traps, I hit the traps. We'll hit that one trap. You know what? I'm having fun. It's always fun doing new things, having to solve new problems. So, sucks, don't get me wrong, but I'm having some fun. And I'm learning a thing or two. Wow. You know what? I'm not feeling this trap as much as the one where I strapped up the shoulder. Maybe there's something to this, like eliminating the hands and biceps nonsense. Like, that's why the Nautilus pull-over machine seems so tantalizing, is I don't have to do a chin-up, I don't have to do a pull-down, or, it's just like elbow, bam, contract. And that's what I was feeling earlier. I could really feel that contraction. Yeah, my right's just not even as catching. Maybe I should just strap my shoulder up next time and just do both like this. do a bit of crippled posing. Can I do this pose? Oh, that feels okay. Oh, definitely can't do the front double bicep. I can, but it looks fucked.